Jonah dislocated kneecap, so he'll be week to week.
So usually that means you probably won't get him this week.
We'll see. Yeah, hard to tell.
How do you feel like Jackson played at left tackle?
I thought he did a nice job. Especially being thrust in there. He's got to practice both sides during the week. He's practiced a lot of guard this year as well. And so I thought, given the opportunity that he had against a tough defensive line, I thought he held up really well.
When did you start working him at tackle and going him over Deontay? What led to that decision?
Well, he's been working at tackle over the course of the season. Frank does a good job of repping all those guys, trying to get them all ready. Again, you can never predict which side you're going to be on, and that's just part of life, being a backup offensive lineman. And so he's done a good job embracing that and being ready for his opportunity.
No major structural damage for Jonathan?
Dislocated kneecap.
Is Alex Kappa still week to week?
Still week to week, yeah.
How much progress did he make? We saw him, it looked like he was still in the booth, so on the screen. How much progress did he make last week?
I saw him curling a towel in there with his toes, and he looked good. So it seemed like that was progress when I walked in. So that was exciting for the room.
I mean, how much would you need? I mean, I think he's played through a lot of stuff throughout his career.
Mm-hmm.
Playoffs. I mean, what do you need to see from him this week in order to feel?
We'll just see. It's so early in the week. I'll have to get to the actual practices and see.
So many new pieces up front. I mean, at this point in the year, what are the biggest challenges that during the week that you will work with? Is it strictly a communication thing, or what are the biggest hurdles that you face?
Again, I really think Frank and Derek have done a great job of getting us ready for these situations where he's stressed that the reps aren't going to be plentiful for anybody. You're going to get in that moment, and you're going to have to know what to do and how to communicate, and so you got to put yourself in those situations mentally. And our guys have really done that. That's why Max Sharping is here. He's a veteran that understands these situations, and that when his number's called, he probably won't have accumulated a ton of reps with the guy next to him on either side. And so he's got to be ready for that, and he's done a good job. Same with Jackson and Deontay and Isaiah Prince and all these other guys, all these other guys that have had to step up. He's got them mentally ready for those moments. There's challenges. There's plenty. I won't list them all, but there's plenty of teams that go through this, and we're just happen to be one of them right now.
I know the whole mantra about next man up, is it truly plug and play, or do you have to adjust the way you play call depending on guys that are in there and backups?
Well, that's really no different than game to game for us, in terms of matchups from who's across from us. So you don't feel any different about it because that's something you're always taking into account. Anytime we're calling a play on a hash or preparing for a guy that's an interior guy or an exterior guy, we always try to factor that in to give our guys the best opportunity and providing help where we can, where it makes sense. Sometimes it's more beneficial to get 4 or 5 guys out in the route instead of helping. So there's just that's part of game. That's part of what we got to deal with starting today and formulating those plans.
How important is Joe's ability to recognize things and help account for maybe having to get rid of the ball quicker?
That's critical. Yeah, that's a big part of it. Is we have trust there that he can diagnose the looks quickly and get the ball out. There's sometimes we've got shot plays with quick answers. There's sometimes it's just quick answers across the board, but usually he's again does a great job of understanding the coverages and where the ball needs to go very quickly. And you can see everybody else understand that now too. There was a great first play of a drive. They played Tampa 2, and we had 4 verticals called, and he got the ball to Mixon as quick as he's ever done, and you can see how quick Mixon was ready for it now because they understand those looks too of when they're going to get those balls. And so something as simple as that, the ball came out of his hands quick on a play that was probably designed to go maybe even further down the field. But that's just part of Joe understanding and playing quick.
In a broadcast partner interview, Joe Burrow said that he said he wanted to be here for his entire career. He also said that he wanted you to coach him essentially for his entire career. What's it like to kind of hear your quarterback audibly express probably what you felt, but to hear that, what does that mean for you?
Well, I think that speaks to the entire organization, and again, this is a place that we all love being. We're in here every day interacting with ownership and personnel and the players, the equipment managers and trainers and video, and it's just a big family, and we want our players to feel that too, like they're taken care of. I like to think Joe feels that, and again, a big part of that is we've got so much trust in him because he puts in the time and the work that when we're in these meetings with not just myself, it's really me to a much lesser extent that are in the meetings with Joe. It's more Pitch and Brian And so, again, you want that relationship where that guy feels like we trust him and we want his input, which we do. I'd argue it's as much as anywhere in the league that we ask for his dialogue and his input, and because we want to see it like he sees it. He's the one out there, and he's got to operate, and he's earned that trust to have that dialogue.
There was a lot talked about after the game about how Baltimore was able to limit you guys from like an explosive passing attack. Was that a result of what happened up front where you had to change what you were calling, or is that kind of a lazy narrative to the fact that you guys lost another offensive lineman?
It's probably why they've been a top defense the back half of the season. It's they're not giving up explosives to anybody, and so it's not just us. There's a way that these games play out, and they oftentimes end up being one-score games against them, whether they've won or lost. You're not going to get a lot of possessions. They run the football, and it takes the clock down. They do a good job. They're a smart defense. And so, again, it's a challenge. You've seen a lot of our drives are a lot of plays in the drive when we score against them, and that's just part of it. You can call the shot plays all day and protect, and they might not be open because they do a good job rolling the coverages different ways. And so, again, it's just – and there's times we call those. You don't realize it because the ball's not going down the field because it's maybe taken away. And so Joe's doing a good job of being efficient and taking underneath, and that's just part of how it plays out.
Do you like to watch the TV copy sometimes? Did you watch the TV copy of Hubbard's fumble return?
I did. Yeah, it's the only play I watched on the TV copy.
And
Yeah.
what stuck out? And did you notice anything that you didn't when you're on the field?
Yeah, honestly, the reason I watched it was for the crowd. You don't get to appreciate in the moment the crowd, and I do understand how significant that play is going to be in Cincinnati Bengals history. It's I told that to Sam after the game. I wasn't the first one to say that, but you understand the impact of that moment in a divisional game, home playoff game. That play will be remembered forever. And so I didn't get to. I was so emotional myself, screaming at all the players, good things, that you don't get a chance to appreciate the crowd. And so I was kind of watching it for that. And there's great copies of him running down the field. You can see the crowd in the end zone reacting, and the shots of the whole stadium, and those are the things we don't always. You're so plugged in on the headset, you can't hear anything. That it was cool to see.
You also notice the announcer's call, because Mike Tirico can be kind of reserved, but on that call, he reached like a different level. It just sounded
Yeah.
like that to me.
I've been a Mike Tirico fan since the 2005 Alamo Bowl when Nebraska beat Michigan 32-28. He and Kirk Herbstreit did a great job calling that game, and so I've always had a soft spot for Mike Tirico, and so I appreciate that call maybe even more than everybody else.
When you deliver a ball, a playoff ball to a bar or restaurant, are you moved by how much it means to people?
I think you'd be shocked at how caught off guard I am. I always think I'm walking into like 5 people sober, and it's usually not how it plays out. But it's fun. It's fun just to be a part of it. I bet you I was in there 4 minutes tops. And again, I don't know what I'm walking. I didn't even know there was a staircase to go upstairs, but people are very helpful and they point you in the right direction. And so, you get in there and it's a fun moment there for a minute. And then you give them the game ball and you move on. But I didn't anticipate it always unfolding like this. It's a really fun tradition that I think our players can be a part of. Not all the game balls have reached their destination yet. I think that's something we've learned. We can incorporate people out of the Cincinnati area, and so we look forward to those balls getting home.
I wanted to ask about 2 plays from your touchdown drive in the third quarter. What did Joe show you on the 3rd-and-1, 3rd-and-inches scramble, and on the 2-point conversion to T?
Yeah, the 3rd-and-1. Again, you're calling a play, trying to get on the edge, and you don't get the coverage you want. Roquan did a great job shooting in there, through really an uncovered gap, and Joe just shrugged him off. I mean, anytime you're in a full sprint, full reach protection, the play is not designed for the quarterback to put his foot in the ground and redirect back the other side. But that's just kind of when you get in these tough games, these big moments, guys just have to make a play outside the framework of the play sometimes, and Joe has shown a knack for doing that time after time again in these bigger moments. Usually he makes more plays, and so he got it done for us and found a way to just extend the drive. And then the 2-point play, you know, we had a different 2-point play first, obviously. They got the DPI. And then he just did a good job extending. The protection held up for him. And you could see they tried to switch it off on the backside. We had a drive concept with TB&T, and you could see they had some communication there. And T just did a great job getting back in phase with Joe. And Joe really probably held on the ball long enough for T to get back into good phase with them and able to make it an easy 2-point.
Was that reminiscent of the Chase touchdown versus San Francisco last year?
That was a tougher throw, certainly. Yeah, further, tougher, more backline-ish. You know, obviously the movement was somewhat similar, but I think the San Francisco one probably was a tougher throw.
What do you make of the sack goal that y'all took yesterday? I think it was the most that y'all.
All different, you know, all different things. And again, people are going to write the narrative that it was the offensive line. It's not always the case. So, you know, one of them had just got stepped on, came down. One time the linebacker bulled us, you know, with the back of protection. And then, you know, one time they brought a nickel pressure and cross face. And so, again, they were all a little bit different. But we feel good about it. The line certainly gave us plenty enough to win that game. And we'll keep working to improve.
Aside from Sam Hubbard's big return, what did you like about the red zone defense yesterday with the stops that you guys made, forcing field goals and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, those 4-point plays, our defense always finds a way to step up and take those plays off the board for other teams. They always make it hard. We know that when we go into teams that are good in the red zone, particularly good in the low red zone, how much of a challenge and how much time and attention it takes to find a way to score points. Our defense is one of those teams I'm sure that teams watch, and it's a pain in the butt. And so they do a great job of not giving an inch. There's so many plays in the sequencing of that big play down there for the goal line fumble. Jesse, you know, runs down the quarterback on the 2-yard line. Cam Sample tips the ball on a spider 3 with the fullbacks in the flat, and does a great job tipping it because who knows how that could play out. And then the next play, Von Bell fitting up in the hole on the right side, you know, and stopping the play on the 1.5-yard line. And then you look at all those guys and really, you know, I was texting Germaine last night because I hadn't realized he was really the first. You know, DJ and those guys are low, kind of creating the pile. Germaine's really the one that stands him up first, and Logan's able to finish the play off. And then obviously Sam finished off the other way. But there's just so many guys that, you know, won't get the credit for what ultimately happened when they all played a part in that. And that's just playing great low red zone defense and not just saying, hey, they're down here, they're going to score, we're going to give it up to them. They've done that time after time again.
Also behind the scenes, Jesse Bates was saying that one of the masterminds for y'all's red zone defense is James Betcher, linebacker coach. What has he kind of done for the red zone defense, and how have you seen Jesse and Vaughn lead the kind of the film with the low red zone and high red zone like he talked about today?
Yeah, I mean, Betch is a great coach. That's why we added him. I've always had a ton of respect for him. Gotten to know him over the years, and he and Lou obviously had a great relationship coming into this year. So he's been a very impactful coach for us, and we have such a great staff over there on the defense side of the ball. The players take initiatives. You know, it's just part of their process of kind of some of the players' things that they do on top of what the coaches ask them to do, and they're always in there watching film as a unit extra without the coaches in the room. Vaughn and Jesse lead that. We got a lot of leadership there that provides that. I don't sit in on those meetings. Those are player meetings, and you trust. You're at the point now where you just trust that the right things are being said and done, and you want the players to take that initiative, and you want to have your schematic thoughts and your identity as a team, but the players got to bring it all to life, and we got players that bring it all to life, and so it's awesome to have.
What was the general sentiment of the text you sent to Germaine?
What's that?
What was the general sentiment that you
Oh, just making sure, you know, he deserved credit on that. And it's, obviously it's always, Logan made a tremendous, to get that ball out and for Sam to finish it off is big time. But, you know, you always, you want to make sure guys get the credit they deserve too. And so when I actually watched it for the first time and could see Germaine had a big part in that also, it's worthy praise.
This week's game comes with a very unique backstory of what happened here just a couple of weeks ago with the bar.
Yeah.
Understanding it's a playoff game, you both want to win in advance. Is there any kind of a unique connection, do you think, between the two teams, considering you experienced the same?
I think that's safe to say. I think these two teams, these two organizations will always be connected through that. The positivity that's come through it all, to see DeMar, you know, getting healthier as time passes, and to see where it's ended up. I think there's always going to be a strong connection between those two organizations, and that's a good thing. Yeah. Go ahead, Mike. I know you had a question, I thought.
Just quick, Mike Thomas and Eli came out of the game okay?
Yeah. Yeah, still getting treatment, obviously. So again, those are just there's going to be a lot of things like that. Not even just those two guys. That we'll see what their status is for Wednesday and go from there. But feel good about it as the week will go.
And I know it's a detail, a small detail, but you see on some of those punts late in the game when Mike Thomas wasn't in there, how much you value that position of, the blocker, the protector.
Yeah, personal protector. Yeah, he's done a great job in that role. And he's taken on that leadership role because that's what that is, and there's a lot of communication involved, and he's done an excellent job, and that's why he's the captain for us.
Dax Hill's penalties, is that teaching moments, or is it a little too late for teaching moments given?
Well, you always want to learn from him, and it's sometimes when they come up kind of in that red zone area, it's tough, but that's part of young guys learning to play certain ways, and Cam had one, and so again, those are always, you always use them as teaching moments, and we got to continue to improve.
How much value is there in 9 minutes, 10 to 12 plays of game film from that first Buffalo game?
I don't know. I've never been in that situation in my life. It's so strange because you practiced a whole week, and it wasn't like it was 9 weeks ago. It was 2 weeks ago, and so there's a balance there. Of what you adjust, what you keep. Both teams are going to be dealing with that.
Because if it's Baltimore, because anybody, if you play 2 times that close together, you're obviously going to change things. Does it almost feel that you can just stick with the original game plan?
Yeah, I won't go that far, but again, we got a possession and 2 plays, and they got 1 possession, and that's in the grand scheme of things, that's not much. So there's a lot there that both teams didn't get a chance to utilize.
Zach, how much have you connected with Sean over the last couple of weeks? I mean, you talked a lot about that night and the follow-up, but since then, have you kept in contact?
It was more just the initial days after,
Yeah.
and then as the time's gone, we've certainly got a lot on plate otherwise. But again, I've always really, I'd say Sean had texted me in years past after good things that had happened for us, and I've always appreciated that. I've always thought very highly of him and the job that he's done and the person that he is, and so no surprise that he's handled all these situations the way that he has.
If I could follow up on Dan's question about the playoff game balls, is there like a small committee after the game who's in charge of deciding?
You're looking at the committee, and again, I don't. I've run out of places to go in Mount Lookout, and that's the only area I know, and so I've asked for help, and so I get directed, and it's usually good spots.
Is it accurate that some are going out of town?
That's accurate. Yeah, that's accurate. We've got fans across all states, and so you want to find ways to be able to connect with them and show your appreciation for them, because I've been sent plenty of videos of bars across America of Bengals fans uniting, celebrating. I get texts all the time that people were in different cities, different states, and so I think this will be a cool way to include them and know that they've got a chance at the game also. So.
Were they pleased from bars and places around the country?
I haven't gotten all that feedback yet, but I'm hopeful that they'll be pleased.
No, I meant, were they pleading for one?
Playing.
Yes.
No, I think it's just more awareness of, we do a great job, Elizabeth and Caroline do a great job of tracking Bengals bars around in hot spots around the country. Emily's got awareness, and so again, that just, at that point I'm told what to do and I do it, and it's fun, but I get to enjoy my one, where I get to take it out and enjoy the crowd a little bit.
Game day's a busy day even before the game starts. Were you keeping an eye on that Buffalo game against Miami at all, knowing a home game was possibly important?
Not really. I was aware of what the score was. I can honestly say I didn't watch but a couple of plays. It's wild. I just wasn't interested in watching it. I was aware of what the score was and how it was going, but you get so focused on your own game that was all I did. It's not always that way, but for whatever reason it was that way on Sunday.
Stay up for the game Saturday night? Would you text your brother?
I kind of fell asleep a little bit there in the second half, and then woke up, and the rest of my family had fallen asleep, so it was me and my oldest son Brooks were still up watching it. He fell asleep. I woke him up when there was about a minute left, and it shows you how tired he was because he didn't even care at that point. That's not like him. And so it was late. I was excited for him. My parents and my two sisters and my future brother-in-law had gone to the Jacksonville game and then came to this game, and now they're doing it all again this weekend. So nobody's got it better than them right now.